Hi, my name is SHOW PONII. I am 28 years old. I am a drag king here in Brooklyn, New York. And I'm just a stupid bitch. Describing SHOW PONII in 3 words, I was once introduced as a trans masc ingenue. I feel like that sums it up really well. I'm fun, I'm flirty, I have a great time. But like anytime anybody like sort of like sees me, it's just like, oh my God, you're so hot, you're so fun, I'm having a great time. I just feel like SHOW PONII is a good time guy. I grew up in upstate New York. Well, I always say Newburgh because nobody knows what the fuck New Windsor is. I wasn't like a lot of these like other stories where it was like, oh, I knew since I was like a little girl that I was a man. I'm like, no, I was playing with like Bratz dolls and dinosaurs and everything else. So it was a bit confusing for me. Not only was I a man, I was a gay man. I grew up like Roman Catholic. A lot of my numbers kind of focus around that. It wasn't like completely traumatizing, but it did sort of fuck with me a little bit of just hearing about like, you know, you're going to hell, you know, the usual things. There are similarities between upstate that sort of helped me transition to Brooklyn. The 2 scenes do have like things that they kind of have in common. Where I started drag is in a little college town called New Paltz. I didn't go there. I'm not smart enough for that, but I did start going there because I really wanted to find community. At the time, I was like pre-T, pre-everything. Really wanted to find a community and really wanted to find people like me. There was no trans men anywhere. Honestly, there wasn't really that many trans women that I knew. The first trans guy that I met was like somebody my therapist sent me up with so I could just learn about transitioning and everything. He was like 45 years old and we met and it was lovely, but I really wanted to find somebody my age. I had friends who were bisexual, but they were in heterosexual relationships. And I was just kind of like, I need somebody queer. I need somebody to support me. So I found about drag shows and I was sort of working with the local LGBTQ center at the time. And I went there sort of by myself. Occasionally I would bring like 1 or 2 like very loose friends, but it was mostly just sort of have somebody there with me to kind of talk to if there was nothing going on. But I went to this drag show and it was in a tiny Thai restaurant. Yeah, I fell in love again for the first time. I was like, this is amazing. I was watching these like, well, at the time, men, they walked past me and I was like, wow, they're beautiful. Oh my God, like they're so gorgeous. And I was like, wait, if they can do that, why can't I? So I started experimenting with my gender and I started doing all these things and then going to more shows and yay. And then became friends with all of them and then we became a family and it was very nice. But they really showed me that drag can be anything. My first show that I went to was like an Amanda Bynes tribute show, and then the next one was my drag mother's like birthday party, which was like a horror themed thing, and she's like spitting up blood and like doing like a saw trap. I'm like, this is crazy. Like I've never seen anything like this. I didn't know you could do that. And every single night I started driving home and I would take an extra 2 hours to get home because I'm just listening to music, planning numbers in my head, and I'm like, I feel like I could do this. Like if I were to do it, like this is what I would do. And like I eventually started, and my first number ever was me like in a basement of somebody's house party in college, and I like castrated myself to a song that was like about like not being able to get hard or something, and it was so fun. And from there it just sort of like shot off, and Up There really showed me that like drag could be whatever you want it to be. My first performance ever in Brooklyn was, funny enough, my partner now, she booked me years ago for her show Straight to DVD, which is still going very strong, Glam Award winning, yay. But at the time it was at a smaller bar, and that was the first show I'd seen in Brooklyn because I had driven my sister down for her first booking in Brooklyn, which was also Straight to DVD. And I was like, wow, this is so fun. And that was before I started drag. And then once I started, my 3rd time performing ever, I was so honored that they booked me for it. And I did a number where I'm dressed as a priest, surprisingly. And I did this Panic at the Disco song because it was a Panic at the Disco themed party for my now partner's birthday, and my 3rd time performing ever. And I really was just like, oh my God, I am so happy to be on a stage. I'm so happy to like just be here. I was like, oh my God, I performed in Brooklyn. This is like crazy to me. At the end of the night, she came up to me and she's like, that was amazing. So like, I know you're new, but like, this is like your 3rd month, right? I was like, no, like 3rd time. She's like, 3rd week? Like, what do you mean? I was like, 3rd time ever performing. And she shoved me and went, you bitch. And years later, we are now in a relationship and very happy. So, but that's how we became friends. And since then, I've just kept going to that show and kept going to shows like that. And my first, I feel, reintroduction to Brooklyn was doing Bitch Fest, which is a competition by season 4 star La Sabatetta. And she started this competition again to sort of, I think, just like give voice and keep Brooklyn fucking weird, because that's what made me fall in love with it too. It's fucking weird here. And you can do whatever you want. And I really wanted to like reintroduce myself to the scene, because I've been coming down here to perform a little bit every so often, but I felt like Brooklyn really didn't know me. And I really wanted to get critiqued. I've never done a competition before. It was my first competition. And I wanted to see what it was like. So I re-upped and reimagined a number that's a staple of mine to, I think, make it just sort of what I thought was worthy to bring to a stage like that. And I immediately gained new friends. I feel that's when I started to really just be like, oh, I really do belong here. An impression that I want to leave on this community. People are looking back on it like 10, 15 years from now. I want everybody to look back on meeting me and be like, I met SHOW PONII, he's so nice. I would love that. My biggest fight has always been for trans people and for drag kings. Despite Brooklyn being so embracing of drag kings, it still has a lot of work to do. I'm very violently annoying about drag kings and the spaces that we occupy and the things that we need to do. Every single time there's ever a show, especially because most of the time I'm the only drag king. And a lot of times I get misgendered because I'm very effeminate. And there's been people here even who have asked me and been like, are you really a drag king? So you kind of look like a drag queen with a mustache. And I'm just like, first and foremost, SHOW PONII is a faggot. That's my whole character. I want people to look back and be like, SHOW PONII really helped elevate drag kings, and SHOW PONII really helped the drag king and trans community. I just really want to showcase that we are so fucking sickening. Like, there are drag kings here that are amazing and deserve to be booked and blessed and everything. But we still have to fight for a place here just to be equal. And I'm very lucky because, like, yeah, I'm skinny, I'm white passing, all of these things, and I get booked a lot. But then there's drag kings here who are so amazing, but they get overlooked and only booked once a month because either they're black or they're a woman or they're just any sort of thing that isn't just cisgender looking and white. I really want my lasting impression to just sort of be like, oh, he was for community. He was a fun performer. He was sickening, all of those things. Obviously, I want people to look back on my drag fondly, but it's already happening now where I get people messaging me being like, hey, I started drag. You really inspired me to do that. And I'm like, that's amazing. That's all I want. Like, I want to inspire people to like, try it, do whatever you want. I get very flattered when I see younger performers interpreting my face and taking elements of my face. Every time I see a white-faced drag king, I'm like, I see what you're doing and I love it. I just really want to like inspire people that way. Skincare is very important for me. I mean, if I don't prep properly, it's fucked. Especially in the summertime, in the winter, basically 365 days a year. I need to make sure my skin is good. 6 years of hormones, especially testosterone, does not do a skin good on a good day. In terms of changing up my makeup, I will always like change up the details, but the thing that remains the same for me is always the white base. Like sometimes I'll look like stunning, gorgeous, yay, and then other days I will look absolutely fucking terrifying. In terms of just like doing like flesh tones randomly, I really don't feel like myself. I feel like a completely different person, different persona. I just feel very much not in my own skin. One of my friends painted me for this show, Sex Change, and she put me in flesh tones and like her makeup and like drag queen makeup. This is so crazy. I don't even feel like in the realm of SHOW PONII. It was so fun, but it's not something that I really have a desire to like explore. I like found the thing that works for me. I really do love it. And yeah, I've become known for this. I've become known for the white paint, the crazy like graphic liner and everything else. The white paint, like I didn't mean for it to become the staple that it is for me. It just felt more comfortable. I can play around with it a lot, and it's also definitely a statement face. Growing up, I drew a lot. I wanted to be an artist. And whenever I do this, it just feels like a blank piece of paper, honestly. I will like sometimes try and sketch out my more complicated faces. in order to like figure something out of what I want to do. So it's just translated better for me. I do also like that, yeah, you can spot me from like a mile away. I feel like a lighthouse. Performing as a king in Brooklyn is a dream come true. The drag kings here are so legendary. They really set like the precedent for it. They set the standard, they set the blueprint. And there's just so many different kinds, especially now, as they start just coming out the woodwork, I feel. There's such a great sense of community here, especially between kings. I'm friends with like 90% of the fucking drag kings here. There's like never like any competition like this drag king has a show and we're gonna fucking ruin him. It's always like, oh my God, I'm gonna go to this after my show. The Cake Boys are amazing. They were one of the first king groups that I saw emerge here. One of the first drag kings that I saw was this King Max Pleasure, who I absolutely adore. He is just so fun and sexy. God Complex has always wowed me. I was so excited to be in his show absolutely last year. It was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And then obviously my brother Mauve is absolutely amazing. I love working with him. We push each other. I love that we're family. I have a brunch with this other king, Mystery Mel Kiki. God, he's so hot. Like every single time I see him, I'm like squealing like a little girl. He's just so fun, so relaxed, and just here to have a good time. But like my favorite drag kings that I've seen have to be, I think, King Molasses and Tenderoni. They are, oh my God. Tenderoni, I just want to get up and dance every single time. And King Molasses I saw perform at Nightgowns. He does these incredibly moving numbers. Like I expected him to come out there because the first time I saw him, it was like this sexy fucking like burlesque number. I was like, oh my God. But then he comes out and does this Kendrick Lamar number that's so, oh my God, moving and beautiful. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, I fucking love drag kings. Like seeing that really just made me fall back in love with drag kings. Not that I ever fall out of love with them, but it just kind of increases where I am with them in my stance. I'm really happy for the friends that I've found here and the community of kings that are here. It's really amazing, but I do also like that I've been able to push myself and become a better performer, a better king all around. That's my AC, not on. The lack of representation of drag kings, I think historically boils down to misogyny and transphobia. In the beginning, a lot of drag kings were women, they were dykes, and they've always been there. That's the thing. Like, drag kings have always been there along with drag queens, but because women were treated so poorly in spaces, nobody really wanted to give them the chance. And now, a lot of drag kings are either women or trans men or trans masc in some way. You know, and there's still that misogyny there, and they feel like, well, you're just putting on a mustache. That's not that crazy. Oh, drag kings don't try that hard. That's not real drag. That's constantly what I was being told is, you're not doing real drag. And I'm like, great, love it. So I think it really just boils down to misogyny. I really don't like that people will just only do drag king nights in showcases because, you know, if they book 2 drag kings in a show, it becomes a drag king show. I've been turned down from bars even now where they're like, marketing a drag king or just anybody who's effeminate is really hard. And I'm like, great, but you're having a drag queen up there who can't host, can't dance, but you know, sure. And you're wondering why your bar's losing money. It's really frustrating that, you know, there's no really like, in Brooklyn, as far as I know, full-time drag kings because they think what we do is like easy or not enough. Which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Having somebody now being with them who is very professional in what she does, but is also just so supportive, and I'm able to like bounce ideas off of each other, and just, you know, it really is sort of like a dream come true to me to have a partner who just like supports what I do and is also an amazing drag performer to boot, thank God. I don't know if I could date somebody who is not a good drag performer. That's so bad to say. I love going to their shows. I like learned so much from them, and now being able to like be in a relationship with somebody like that, it really is just, I really do love it.
So, plot twist, Show Pony and I are romantically involved, and it's crazy because we had been friends for like 6 years or so, and then just started developing a crush on each other around the same time, and things kind of went from there. It's great because we both respect what each other does. We both are able to use our own expertise in the nightlife world to help inform each other's drag and help each other grow, and we respect each other a lot, and I think that's such a foundational element to the relationship, you know? I would say, like, working together, I found a lot of our crossovers when it comes to our musical interests working together, which has been really cool because it allows us to have that extra thing to really bond over is music, you know?
My favorite thing that we'll do is just like throw songs back and forth and be like, you should do this, oh my god, I would love it if you do this.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to each other's shows and fuck with each other on the roulettes.
Yeah, oh my god. See, being at each other's drag roulettes and at each other's shows is hilarious because we know the B-sides.
I'm like, do call me 15 times in a row, please.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't love me. Like,
right.
Just threatening.
It's fun, flirty, threatening.
Yeah, but I really do. Flirty threats. Yeah, I definitely hasn't heard it at all. I mean, we've worked together a lot. I mean, we're both very professional at what we do, and we just have like a lot of fun.
He said a professional. Crazy. Sorry, I'm just having a moment.
So this show that I'm doing tonight is a big family reunion. The show we're doing is Knickknacks, getting the band back together. My sister Evangeline, it's her birthday today. This is the first time we've actually all performed together. God, in I think years. So Evangeline, the host, she is performing, and this is her show that she produces with her husband Mauve. But she really knows how to cultivate a crowd. She knows how to cultivate a brand. She, again, can do the stupidest number I've ever seen in my life and have me rolling around the floor laughing, or again, do something so moving where I'm like, I'm gonna burst into tears right now. She is a very much like a good time gal.
She is also transgender like me.
And then her husband Mauve, who is my drag brother, also a very, very just like girly pop drag king. We very much bonded over being two drag kings who are just effeminate and find power in our masculinity by being effeminate. I love him so much. His paint is also so clean and everything else.
I am going to run you very quickly through the rules of a drag show.
And then there's my sister Venus, who is so stunning, so gorgeous. Her and Evangeline started drag together. I feel like our family started with just like pairs of people, but she also moved down to Brooklyn. Evangeline, Mauve, and Venus all live in Brooklyn, and we're in a very close vicinity together. So Venus is just stunning. I'm jaw on the floor watching her every single time. And then there is Katerina Mirage, who, funny enough, we're very surprised she came down for this because we always invite her, but she just never fucking comes. You're gonna look at her and be like, oh, that's Ariana Grande. Yeah, she's just Ariana Grande boots. Love her. And then the big, I feel like, reveal of this is like Valkyrie Hale, who inspired all of us. She actually took a hiatus from drag because she got a big girl job, moved 6 hours upstate. So she drove down like to perform tonight, and she doesn't really perform anymore at all. So this is like a big treat. I constantly talk about her so much to everybody, and I'm just so excited that she's performing again. I get to hang out with her, I get to see her, catch up. And then there is my sister Andromeda, bestie. Starting drag with her I'm so happy that we did, because I feel like we're both just powerhouses of just constantly trying to improve ourselves. We look at drag as fun, but we look at it as something that is a job, a craft that needs to be cultivated. We do take it seriously, obviously we have our fun, but after I left Upstate, she really took over the entire scene and made Upstate drag what it is. Yeah, she became a mentor to so many people, just the shows in general. I mean, she's stunning and like just a rotted bitch. I love her so much. That is my best friend because we can just be disgusting together in terms of like everything we say. And hopefully she doesn't call me anything too awful tonight, so we'll see.
Unorganized, always late. Very caring though, always understanding, and literally the person that I go to talk shit with the most, bitch. We are vile. My name is Andromeda. I am one of the best performers in the Hudson Valley, if not the only one. I grew up with not grew up with Show Pony. We started drag together, and we're just like two peas in a pod, different sides of the same coin, and we have been doing everything that you can imagine upstate, and like changing the whole like spectrum of what drag is up there. at the end of the day, as vile as I am, as much as I hate him, he is my brother, and like we love each other to death.
If my younger self were to come to one of my shows, I feel like he'd be really just like gagged and just could not believe his eyes. I always used to have daydreams, even in like elementary school, middle school, of just being a performer, being on a stage, but I was just way too painfully shy. I mean, years of bullying will do that to you, especially when you're, you know, closeted gay with a few extra steps. It's things I've like just dreamt about having, friends, being confident, performing, being loud and outspoken, and having a life. I used to be so insanely depressed and anxious and just worry about what people were thinking about me 24/7 and caring about that so violently. And now I really just could not give a fuck. Like, I don't care unless you're fucking me, paying my bills, whatever. I don't care what you think about me. Like, if you're not important to me, that doesn't matter. Performing has really been the first thing I've done in my life where I'm like, oh, I was meant to do this. It brings together everything I've ever done in my life. I get to be my own boss. I get to be aggressive. I get to, you know, look pretty. I get to do all these things. And if I wasn't doing what I am now, I just feel like I'd be this sad little thing with no friends. It's just like so crazy for me to say, but drag just introduced me and really helped me come into myself, where I look back on what I used to be, this tiny, quiet thing who, you know, would be afraid to wear a color in public. Like, if I wore a white shirt out, I'd be having a mental breakdown, where now I'm like, fucking cares.
If you want to be an ally to a trans man, I need a pink flamingo in this hand within 10 seconds, please.
This is something that I am so incredibly passionate about and so violently in love with, where I'm like, I need to do this for as long as my body lets me, until my knees give out. So, which might be next week, so we'll see. Any young king who feels like, I just feel like I'm not making it, I feel like I'm not doing enough. It's like, no, I promise you are. Find a community, find other drag kings. There's fucking 10 million out there now. You know, look up tutorials, learn from drag queens. That's what I learned from, and it really helped me. Don't be afraid to play in femininity. Don't be afraid to be overly masculine. You know, at the end of the day, we're just playing fucking pretend. It's just grown-up dress up. But if you really want to make this a career and you're really passionate about it, do not let anybody or anything stand in your way. Just keep going for it. Don't get discouraged. You know, I know it's easier said than done. There's been times where I'm like, I'm fucking quitting. But I'm really happy I didn't, because now I get to do this, and I've met so many wonderful people, and I've lived out things that I can only ever dream of, and people that I idolized years ago before I was even doing drag, I've gotten to work with, and now I have them on my phone just being like texting away. So it's really nice to just be able to do that now, and I want that for everybody.